ever stop at a gas station or diner at 3 a.m. and just feel eyes on you? Like something's watching, not from the trees, but from right behind your reflection in the window. I used to think the scariest thing out here was getting stranded. But the truth is, the monsters don't hide in the woods. They wave you down from the side of the highway. They sit next to you in your car. And sometimes, they know exactly who you are and what you've done. These aren't stories I heard. These are stories I survived. Let me show you why the most dangerous thing on the road isn't what's ahead. It's who's already in the car. It was supposed to be just another pit stop. A greasy 3 a.m. meal at a Waffle House no one would remember. But I didn't know I was already being watched. I didn't know I was about to meet someone who never should have existed. The thing is, when you've got blood on your hands, you start thinking you're untouchable. That nothing can touch you. But sometimes, evil has a funny way of finding its way into the passenger seat. And this time, it didn't want to ride. It wanted me, and it's 100% real. Let me tell you why you should never stop for strangers on the road at night. It was 3:17 a.m. at a Waffle House, middle of nowhere. I wiped my mouth on my sleeve and pushed away from the table, my gut full and my mind heavy. I had miles to go before my next job and nowhere to be. No one knew me here, exactly how I liked it. Walking through the parking lot, I passed the dumpsters behind the building. That's when I heard it slam. The dumpster lid had dropped on its own. I kept walking. Slam. Again. I whipped around, pissed off now. I was ready to knock some tweaked-out cook's teeth in for screwing around. But that's when I saw him. Not the cook, someone else. Standing casually near the wall. No apron. No uniform. Just dusty boots, faded jeans, a zip-up jacket, and a face like something out of a movie. Young, blonde, flawless, like a model or an angel. He smiled and asked me for a ride. I should have kept walking. I should have left him standing there in the fog. But I didn't. Something about him made me say yes. He was too clean, too pretty to belong here. Just like the others I'd picked up before. Only this one talked different. He joked. He smiled. He even said he had some cash. I told him to get in. He thanked me, said maybe he'd make me care. We drove for hours. The roads got darker. The fog got thicker. And then, he asked me a question. You ever get scared out here? His voice was different now. Colder. Like it didn't belong in the cab with me. He leaned in, whispered about the fog, the woods, how no one was out here, how no one would hear me scream. And then, the spider came out of the air vent. Big, hairy, yellow stripes. I damn near crashed trying to kill it, but he just held out his hand. The spider crawled into his palm, and he smiled. I think it wants to stay with me, he said. Then, it crawled into his jacket. I lost it. I yelled, demanded he get rid of it. He smiled again. You'd like that, wouldn't you? But it wasn't his voice anymore. It was hers. One of the ones I'd picked up before. One I left in the woods to rot. And then, I saw her, in the passenger seat where he was supposed to be. Her skull half exposed. One eye gone. The spider crawling into the socket. I slammed the brakes. Hard. When I looked again, he was back. Sitting there, rubbing his eyes like he'd just woken up. No spider. No girl. No blood. I was going insane. That's what I told myself. But the truth was worse. Much worse. I handed him a cup of coffee. Mine was spiked with something special. Something that always worked. He drank it fast. Too fast. I watched him. He talked, made jokes, even told me about his angel ex. But then he said something I'll never forget. You're too young to be having fucking women problems, I told him. And he said, yeah, but just the right age to die. My blood ran cold. He described my victims, their hair, their eyes, their ages. I started fading, losing time. Suddenly, I was in the back of the truck, tied down, dizzy, paralyzed, and he was standing there holding rope, a black silhouette with horns, a voice like thunder. You don't have a soul. You're worse than an animal. Because you know better. He transformed, limbs cracking, skin peeling, Something out of hell took his place. Couldn't scream. He grinned down at me. I'm going to keep you alive, piece by piece. And when I'm done, I'll leave you in the dirt with the rest of them. Use your teeth to dig yourself out, pig. That truck was found 2 weeks later. Empty. The trailer soaked in blood. No driver. No signs of struggle. Just one thing left behind. A spider. Still alive. Waiting. It was pouring rain when I saw her. Just a silhouette by the guardrail. Thumb up. Head down, drenched to the bone. Middle of nowhere. Mile marker 204. Exit 31. I didn't usually stop for hitchhikers. But something about her. She didn't look like she belonged out there. Barefoot. Pale. Hair stuck to her cheeks like she hadn't spoken in hours. She didn't say a word when she got in. Just nodded. Held her soaked arms. Trembled. Where you headed? I asked. She whispered. Home. I didn't press. We drove in silence for miles. But I kept glancing at her. Her clothes looked old. Like something from the 60s. She was holding something in her lap. A small leather diary. Clutched like her life depended on it. Then she asked, Do you believe in ghosts? I laughed nervously. I believe in psychos. And I believe in bad luck. She looked at me. Really looked and said, Me too. Right after that, my headlights blinked out for half a second. When they came back on, the passenger seat was empty. No door sound. No trace. Just muddy footprints on the floor mat and a soaked leather diary still sitting on the seat. I pulled over in shock. When I opened the diary, the last page read, He picked me up at exit 31. He smiled. He said I was pretty, but he never took me home. It was dated August 11th, 1968. That was the date on the rusted sign I passed 2 exits back. A memorial for a missing girl. Her name was the signature on the diary. I'm a long-haul driver. I spend days at a time on the road. Same route, same stops, same coffee. It gets boring until something breaks the pattern, like seeing the same guy at 3 different stops for hours apart. The first time he was outside a diner in Kentucky, hood up, leaning on a post, just staring at the sky. Didn't think much of it. Next stop, Tennessee, 2.5 hours later. There he was again. Same hoodie, same pose. I felt weird, but I brushed it off. People travel. Third time, a rest area in Georgia, late at night. This time he was watching me. I walked fast to my truck, locked the door, started the engine. My chest was tight. That night, I parked behind a gas station to sleep. At 3:40 a.m., I heard a soft tapping. I sat up. There he was, standing at my window. Same hoodie, same blank face. I turned the key, engine stalled. Dead. Then he smiled and held up my missing wallet. I don't know how he got it. I slammed the door open and ran into the station. When I came back with the clerk, he was gone. But in my seat was a Polaroid picture of me, sleeping, taken from outside the window. The timestamp was earlier that night. I called the cops. They searched the area. Nothing. They asked if I had enemies. I don't. But ever since then, I keep seeing people in hoodies. Too far away to confirm. Too familiar to ignore. Every time I close my eyes, I feel him getting closer. I don't know when it'll happen. But one night, I won't wake up in my truck. I'll wake up in the back of his. This happened on a stretch of Highway 50, often called the loneliest road in America. I was driving overnight through Nevada. Endless desert. No lights. No signs. Just fog rolling in heavy across the asphalt. I hadn't seen another car in over an hour. Then I saw her. A woman. Mid-30s, soaked to the bone, barefoot. Standing on the shoulder, waving both arms. I slowed down, rolled down the window. She begged me for a ride. Said her car broke down and her phone was dead. She seemed shaken, like she'd been out there way too long. I hesitated, but let her in. She thanked me, shivering, curled into the passenger seat. Didn't say much, just stared at the fog outside. 10 minutes in, she asked, "Do you see it?" I glanced around. "See what?" She pointed out the window. "There's something walking, just outside the fog line. It's been following me since I left the car. I looked, nothing. You sure? She nodded slowly. I think it's wearing my husband's face. My skin crawled. I asked if she wanted to call someone when we hit the next town. She didn't answer. I looked over. She was gone. Passenger door still locked. No sign she'd ever been there, but the seat was soaking wet. I stopped the car, heart pounding, got out and checked the road behind me. Nothing. But when I turned back to the truck, there were wet footprints leading from the passenger door all the way around to my door. I jumped in, locked the doors, floored it out of there. When I got to the next town, I asked about accidents nearby. A clerk told me a woman died in a crash the week before, near the same mile marker. She'd been trying to leave her abusive husband. He went missing the same night. They never found his body. Sometimes, when I drive through heavy fog, I swear I still see her. Or maybe it's him. This one's the reason I don't drive at night anymore. I was heading east through West Virginia, alone, just before dawn. Gas tank almost empty, but I was close to a mechanic shop and a station I'd been to once before. That's when I saw it, a figure standing on the side of the road. At first, I thought it was a shadow cast by a tree or sign, but it wasn't moving, and it wasn't cast by anything. It was standing there, perfectly still, human-shaped, tall, too tall. I slowed down, squinting, headlights hitting it, but there was no face, no features, just a void in the shape of a person. It didn't react, didn't flinch, just stood there like it was waiting. I rolled the window down a crack. Hey, you all right? No response. Then it moved. Not toward me, not away, just across. Slowly stepping across the road, perfectly silent. I watched in stunned silence as it disappeared into the trees. I should have kept driving, but I was low on gas and needed to get to the shop. So I drove past that spot, heart hammering. When I reached the gas station, it looked abandoned. Lights off, door chained, no sign of anyone. The shop next door was the same. I checked my phone. No signal, no bars, no GPS, no clock, just static. And that's when I saw it again, the shadow standing on the edge of the lot. I locked the doors, tried to reverse. Nothing. Truck wouldn't start. Then I heard something. From the radio. A low, garbled voice. You shouldn't have come back. The lights flickered. The dashboard glitched. Then, just for a second, it was sitting in the passenger seat. The shape, the shadow, right next to me. I blinked and it was gone. Engine roared to life. I floored it out of there. A mile down the road, I passed a lit-up diner, full of people. Laughter. Music. It hadn't been there before. I asked the waitress if the shop down the road was open. She looked confused. Sweetheart, that place burned down 3 years ago. They never found the mechanic's body. Just a black handprint on the inside of the office window. So next time you're driving alone at night and you see a hitchhiker, a shadow, or a beautiful stranger, don't stop. Don't roll the window down. Don't ask questions. Don't let them in. Because the real monsters don't hide in the woods. They don't growl or chase or scream. They wait. They whisper. And if you're not careful, they remember you. These weren't stories I read online. They weren't tales around the campfire. These are real, because I'm still here, and they still come back for me. Every time I drive,